Hello beautiful people and welcome back to my channel. I am just getting home. I had some errands to run. I quite literally just walked in the door here. You see the weather threw a wrench in the day, so we had to pivot. Not a big deal though. I keep my life very structured because your girl has raging ADHD, and time blocking my days keeps me on task and on point, but today Mother Nature had other plans. So we're letting our ADHD run wild today. With that being said, we're going to do a little kitchen project. So this is the kitchen I am in the side of my house that I have built the rental suite in. So when I did the large home reno, I built 3 bedrooms upstairs in the loft on the second story of my house, and then essentially just walled off in between, and that part I rented out, and this part kind of was mostly done but not entirely done, and so I've just kind of been finishing things up while I've been living here before I move. But it is time that I get some of those loose ends tied up. I did give myself a break and enjoyed summer because summer in Canada is amazing, but it is time to get kind of the loose ends tied up and just some of those things buttoned up and finished. With that being said, I need to finish off the kitchen here. What kind of spurred and inspired this whole reno project was last year I moved down to Utah for the winter. I was down there, I booked a furnished rental and I booked a furnished studio apartment, which I was very nervous about. So my house that I've lived in for the last 3 years alone is a 5-bedroom, 2-bath home. I did build some of those things, but it's a good size house for one person. So going into a studio apartment, I was actually really nervous that I was gonna have a tough time in such a small space, but I can't lie, you guys, I loved it. I loved it. So coming home, I was so excited to start this reno. And one thing I wanted to do with the kitchen was give myself some freedom and flexibility with how everything was laid out so I could move things around. So in the kitchen, the only thing that's really permanent, this island is movable, is the cabinetry behind me. I just did the floating shelves. Those are a new addition. And then you'll probably notice you only see a fridge and a sink, but you don't see probably an oven or a dishwasher, the normal things you'd see in a kitchen. I do have an induction cooktop that I'll put in this countertop, but I'm not 100% sure where I want it yet. And once you cut the hole in the countertop, you cannot go back. So I want to make sure I'm like 100% on where it's going to go first before cutting the hole. Right now, I just pull it out when I use it and plug it in, but I will say that's kind of a pain. And because I intend on using this as a rental and I'm going to rent it out as a furnished rental, I want it to be as easy as possible for people that are moving in. So it does have to go in. I just need to decide where it's going to go. But with that, I bought this at Costco. It's like a little 10-in-1 convection bake air fryer thing, and it is fantastic. It essentially is just like an oven, but you can also use it as an air fryer. It's small, it's super easy, super convenient. And then what I did, because I built the wall behind me and I ran the electrical for everything, I have everything plugged into separate breakers. So my air fryer's on one breaker. This is an appliance cabinet. So up top there's a microwave that is also on another breaker, so that if you're using multiple things at different times, you don't have to worry about blowing a breaker, things like that. And then in here as well, I also have like I'll bring it around. That's a better view. So I have my microwave up here, air fryer here. I also have like my creamy, my blender. Everything's just kind of in here and plugged in, so I don't have to worry about pulling appliances out and plugging them in. I also have an Instapot in here that you do have to pull out to use, but everything's just kind of nice and tucked away, which I really like about this cupboard. And then I have another cabinet. You can't see it right now. It's just kind of around the corner that's a bit bigger than this actually, and that's what I use as my pantry. And then over here as well, I'll show you where my dishwasher is. This was just an apartment-sized dishwasher that I ordered on Amazon, and you can either put it on the counter. I think it's huge to put on the counter, or you can use it as a built-in. So I designed all this cabinetry and then built it. I have access to a CNC, so I was very fortunate that I could get everything cut exactly to the size that I wanted it. So this is just like a very nice little one drawer. You can put actually quite a bit in it. Living alone, I find that it gives me usually 2 or 3 days before I run it. I can fill it with dishes. Like right now, I have like a couple cups in here and such, but if I have company, like if I have a girlfriend out or anything like that for the weekend, we usually run it once a day. But I find for 1 or 2 people, and this isn't a huge unit, it's a 2-bedroom, you wouldn't want more than that. I also love this. I don't love doing dishes. Everyone has their different house chores. I love laundry. I think everyone in my life makes fun of me for this, but your girl loves laundry. I do 2 or 3 loads of laundry every day and I love it. I hate doing dishes. So she is my favorite thing ever. If I could bring her to Utah with me, I would. You're probably wondering though, what in the heck project are you doing today? Because you said you were doing a project. We are going to enclose the island a little bit more. So This is actually just a calic shelf. I had this beautiful desktop. I had a beautiful desk actually, and then I had a calic shelf, and I needed an island in here. So I just took the desktop off of the desk legs, and then I took my calic shelf and I flipped it on its side, and I got some legs from Amazon. I will show you those. This is a little bit better of a view here, but it's just a calic shelf literally on its side, and then I added this. I really love this top, so I didn't want to get rid of it, and I didn't want, this was one thing I didn't want to sell or donate or anything like that. I wanted to find a way to incorporate it into the space, and then I just picked up little 5-inch legs on Amazon. I think they were 20 bucks. So the nice thing about this is that I literally made this for essentially nothing, just with things that I had around the house. The only catch to it is because this is at the front of my house and it's close to my front door. You are kind of right in front of my front door right now. It's like a bit of a living room area here. This gets dusty. So I find that these shelves are just impossible to keep clean. So what I'm thinking is I'm going to take just a piece of beadboard and just cover the one side, because at least that will cover the side where the door is, and then it will still be open on the other side. I've thought about adding doors, but I think with the cabinets on this side, it might be kind of just tight and kind of annoying. This is movable as well. I'm not 100% sure where it's gonna live permanently. It might live against the wall, kind of tucked like it is right now, but it might be more in the middle of the room. I have not decided. We will see kind of what looks best, but I'm not 100% sure how I'm gonna finish the corners yet, and I'm kind of feeling like maybe I should paint it. So I'm feeling a bit torn. I almost feel like maybe I just paint the 3 sides and then leave this front white, but we're starting to give hospital with all the white, and we don't want to give hospital in here. If you follow me on TikTok, you watch me clean this room out, okay? It was. But with all the renos, and my garage is not attached to my house. It's a detached garage, and it's in the back of my house. The way that my house is suited is my access is the front door, because it's a main floor suite, and then it's a 1.5 story. So there was a really big addition done to my house. That side of the house has a 2nd story. Their main entrance is the back door, but because of that, my garage is in the back, but the backyard is theirs. So for me to get to the back, for me to get to my garage, I essentially have to drive around the block. Like, I could walk around the block. It's just hard to walk around the block with like a chop saw. So I have to, so you have to like drive around the block. It's not a big deal. It's really not a big deal, but some tools, because I use them all the time, had to go somewhere. They had to go somewhere. Okay, don't look at me. I thought we were done, but then the shower had its moment, and now this room's become, it's not as bad as it was. Don't judge me. And that's just a little bit of drywall back there from when I had to take the shower out. Okay, it's just, I'm not sure if I need it yet. I'm impressed with myself. My special talent, and I'm so sad that I didn't YouTube at this time, is moving furniture and large building materials by myself. I used to every 6 months move my whole room, and I used to alternate between actually where my bedroom is now, that front bedroom, or the loft. So I would move all my furniture up and down the stairs like randomly on a Saturday sometimes. And then sometimes if I was feeling really spicy, I would move my whole home gym. So if you've been here for a while, you know that I used to have a full home gym in my house with like a squat rack, barbells. I had, I think, 500 pounds of weight plate. I also had 5 to 85 pound dumbbells. That alone was 1,500 pounds of weight. And I would just every once in a while be like, you know what needs to move? The whole gym. Like the horse stall mats that the floor was made out of. It was a spicy time, and I just move it all by myself. I'm just saying that like ADHD sometimes is a superpower. I just have to get it measured. In typical ADHD fashion, I'm not really sure what the order of events was. I think I went to eat something, and then we accidentally went on a little adventure, and I accidentally forgot about this part of the day. So I'm just gonna show you some views. I'm just on my way back down. It was just really nice light, and I was like, I should go. So we did go. I'm getting back to the scheduled programming. So sorry. It's as though I'm unmedicated today, and I'm not. Like, your girl took her meds today. She's just a squirrel when my day is not time blocked. People always ask me how I stay organized, how I get everything I need done in the day. Time blocking. If I did not time block my day, I would get zero. Well, not zero things done. It's not like I got nothing done. I got lots done today. it's just hard to like follow any kind of flow when you're scatterbrained. Well, if that wasn't the most ADHD day of my days, that was hilarious. Tomorrow we have things time blocked, and we time blocked in time to finish the project that we kind of started. We didn't entirely start it today, but we're on our way. I try not to have those days often, and it really only happens when Mother Nature changes my plans, because other than that, I'm pretty good at sticking to either my plan A or my plan B. I try and always have two. If you have ADHD, having more than one plan, highly recommend that, because it just helps keep you on task. I did not have a plan B, and that's really where I hacked up. So tomorrow I'm going to get up early, go to the gym. I have some filming and editing that I need to get done, and then tomorrow is a Sunday, which means I have some programs that I need to do. I always forget that I never talk about like my normal job on here. I own a health and wellness company. Actually, I own a couple of health and wellness companies. I own a health coaching company, an activewear brand, and a supplement company, but they're all three separate things. I still carry a full client load, so I have some coaching programs that I need to get updated for tomorrow, because new programs always go out Monday. Most things are done. There was just a couple things. I do check-ins with clients on Fridays, so if there's anything that I need to update for their program for Monday, I always like to make sure that I get that done Sundays. And then tomorrow I need to finish the island. I have some website work that I need to do. I have some product shots I need to get done. I think I have a good structured outline for the day tomorrow. During the week, I usually do one work block and then I go to the gym. It's a weekend, so I'm thinking I will go first thing. I also try and avoid the gym when it's busy. I also have had some questions, because I really don't share much content at the gym anymore, and I've had some people ask why. It's not that I don't work out as often anymore. I work out just as often. It's because I started getting really uncomfortable threats from people, and the gym is one space where people started commenting about exactly where I was. I had some physical safety issues in the last year or two. So since then, I really don't post much on where I am, things that could be identified locations. I time delay posting things like that, but the gym is one area where anyone can have access to a gym. They're public gyms, which is a good thing. Gyms should be public, but we also shouldn't threaten people's safety while they're trying to work out. So that is why the gym itself has become just a space where I just kind of like take time for myself anyways now. Anyways, thanks for coming to my Raging ADHD day. We're still gonna finish the island, don't you worry. Good morning, beautiful people. It is about 6 o'clock in the morning right now, and your girl is just going to make a coffee and get ready for the day. Look at how easy these are. So good. So cold. It's so cold. It's okay. We take cold showers around here because it is so good for so many things, and when I have brain cell again, I will explain them to you, but it's so cold right now. I have talked about why this is the move in the past, but this is the move because all your clothes are warm when you get out of the shower. So I'm freezing right now because I just took a cold shower. But all my clothes are nice and toasty warm. I put the clothes that I'm wearing to the gym, I just threw them in the dryer there. Well, this is a perfect angle because I can still get dressed. You can't see anything. I haven't talked about this much on here. I think I've softly mentioned this before, but one of my parents is or was an alcoholic and an addict for most of my life. So I was never really interested in drugs and alcohol. I think it's a big part of the reason that I don't drink much now as an adult and have never really been like a big drinker. Just because I've seen the effects that it has on someone's life. I can't vouch for this, but from what I hear, what research says, cold showers give you 9 times more dopamine than, what do people call it, nose sugar, nose candy? You know what I'm talking about. More dopamine than that, and it lasts longer. We do cold showers in the morning around here because it's good for us. It's It's good for our dopamine levels. If you have ADHD, it's good to keep you focused on task, on track for the day. That and time blocking, honestly, people always ask me how I manage my time with ADHD, especially because I do a lot. People either think I have no job or know that I actually have lots of jobs. Still carry a full client load. I think I talked about that a little bit last night. So I'm a personal trainer and nutrition coach by trade. I worked in health and I worked in health and fitness to put myself through university, and I graduated with a finance and marketing degree. Once I graduated, I worked in finance for a year and hated it. And then I did a couple of other things for a couple of years. I worked as a marketing director and I did really enjoy that, and I worked in the outdoor industry, but it just wasn't really fulfilling. It wasn't fulfilling like health and wellness is, and health and wellness is something I always missed, so I came back to it. I also own an activewear brand, so I am not as involved in that business anymore, but I still do all of the design work. I still do all of the creative work. And I also started a supplement company this year, actually. So that is my third baby in business, which has been really fun and really exciting. I don't talk about that one as much. I really don't talk about a lot of the things that I do. And then I have rentals and things like this. So I really like flipping houses. So this is something that I've just always enjoyed. And I think because I do so much mentally taxing work, so much work at a computer, things like that, I have always really loved doing tangible work with my hands as my wind down. A lot of people will sit on a couch in front of a TV, things like that, as their kind of wind down at the end of the day. That's really never felt relaxing to me because I spend so much of my day using my brain. So it's really nice when my relaxation at the end of the day can be something like putting a shower in or building a wall or kind of whatever that is. We are going to be managing this today. I know that that's not the norm, but at least for me, it's always felt nice because it's kind of a change of gear. And one thing when you're doing computer work is you don't see a finished product. So you don't get that dopamine accomplishment feeling of, wow, I just put that together. It looks so good. Whereas when you're doing something like a big home reno, you see things come together, and at least for me, I find it so motivating. I like to break my work days up into 3 chunks of 3, if that makes sense. So I do 3 3-hour blocks throughout the day that I consider my mandatory work blocks, and then I give myself 1 additional 3-hour block at the end of the day in case I'm feeling extra peppy that day. And everything that I put into my last block, I usually put as things that don't have deadlines. So everything during the day are things that I've given myself deadlines on. One thing being self-employed is you have to give yourself deadlines and structure, or it is not going to get done because there's no one else to kind of keep you accountable in that. I said this last night, I wasn't sure if I was going to do a work block and then go to the gym, or go to the gym first and then do a work block. I'm going to do my first work block right now. I'm just going to do client programming. So I'm going to hammer this out while I have breakfast quickly. And then after I'm done that, then I will go to the gym. I do have my gym fit on already, so I'm ready to go once I'm done. But to start the day here, we are just going to get through some quick programs. What I like to do, and I mentioned this before, some of my clients check in on Fridays, some on Mondays, just depends on the person. But what I do Sundays is if I have any new programs that need to go out, typically I'll have done them last week, but I like to just kind of take a double check on Sunday nights before they go out. And then if it's a client that's in the middle of a current block, things like that, I just make sure that their programs are adjusted for any potential injuries, anything that they're not loving as well. Because I always tell clients, if you don't love your program, I can change it for you. That's what I'm here for. So if you're just going through and you're like, I hate this, if there's one specific exercise that you're like, oh, I dread that workout because I have to do Bulgarian split squats, whatever it is. If it's not a love-hate, like you're doing it and it sucks, but you do it and you're like, I feel fire after, you're just hating it, let me change it for you. You shouldn't hate exercise. If it's just the whole in general, you're like, I don't like leg day, I don't want to do it, we still have to do leg day. We can't skip leg day, but we can like swap something. I'm gonna do that right now, then that part of my day is done and I can kind of just get to the gym and then get into my next block later. So let's get to it. This part of my day is boring, so I don't normally film this because I'm just sitting at a computer. But I will say this is where I work most days, so I will show you what that looks like. To save my back, I did order one of these recently and I do really like this. Personally, I just don't love sitting all day. This keeps your neck up, which is really important for you not to just be like hunched over. So work block number 1 is done. I did change my top because I decided we're shuffling my workout this week. I wasn't sure if I was gonna do legs today because I wasn't sure how I was feeling, but I'm feeling good, so we're gonna do legs. So I put on a long sleeve and dropped another one on the floor apparently. Pump cover. I like to break my work days up that way for a couple different reasons. There have been a few studies done where if they measure productivity for people specifically doing office work in a 6-hour day and an 8-hour day, people tend to get the same amount done. And it's because you just can't stay focused sitting at a desk for that long. And it's not something like an assembly line where you can just kind of one foot in front of the other, just keep doing things. You're using a lot of brain power. So I find for myself, that's why I like 3-hour blocks and I like movement in between. So 3-hour block gym, 3-hour block walk, 3-hour block dinner, whatever I want to do. And then maybe another optional one in the evenings. I usually do another one in the evenings, but it's not kind of so structured and have to be done by a certain time or have those deliverables. I try and leave more of my creative work for the evenings. So I give myself some more freedom and flexibility in that, especially for any like clothing design, things like that, because creativity is not something you can schedule, and there's nothing worse than sitting down for a 3-hour block being like, I have to get these 6 sports bras refined and I need to make all of these adjustments and pick colors, things like that. And you're like, well, I haven't had a creative thought ever before, not even one time. So that's why I like leaving that stuff till later, because I find when I'm less timed, my creativity is so much better. Whereas things like programs or anything else, I find I do better with during the day. So that's just what works for me and my breed of ADHD. And there's 3-hour blocks as well. I find if I can change my environment, that really helps. So this 3-hour block, I hung out on this side of my island and just stood, which was really nice. Gonna train, and then I do have a desk and an office, but I for some reason don't like working in there. We're just not flowing as well. So for the next 3-hour block, I'll probably sit on the other side of this island. Sometimes I work in coffee shops for blocks. It really just depends on what I have to get done that day, what I'm feeling. But right now it is gym time. So we're gonna do pre-workout. I always do it with the tiniest little amount of water so I can just slam it back. And then for myself personally, I do stim-free pre-workout, and I like doing stim-free because if I end up training later, I don't have to worry about caffeine content in it, which is just kind of nice. And I also am cautious of my caffeine content. So I do just about a full scoop of stim-free pre-workout. This more or less gives you a good pump. And then the next ingredient is kind of personal preference for you. I add in beta-alanine. If you don't know what beta-alanine is, it is the ingredient in pre-workout that makes your skin kind of tingly or itchy. If you've ever taken pre-workout, I also think everyone's first pre-workout is C4. So if you've taken C4, you know that feeling when you take a full scoop because you don't know what's going on, which we should never be taking a full scoop our first time, but if you did do that, you know what I'm talking about. And 30 minutes later, you're like, I'm gonna rip my eyebrows off my face right now. That feeling? Well, you see, that feeling is brought to you proudly by beta-alanine. None of this is sponsored. Also, this is an ingredient, not the brand. The brand I'm using is Allmax. I just picked it up at my local supplement store, but this is nice because you can add in how much you want. Some pre-workouts I really like some things about them, but then I hate how much beta-alanine they have in them. So I actually just bought a tub of it, and I really like being able to control how much I have in it, because sometimes if I'm doing a leg day, I want a little bit more. But if I'm just doing something like, if I'm doing a gun run, buys and tries, if you don't know, gun runs are for the girls, by the way, not the guys. Well, they're for the girls and the guys, but girls don't skip your gun runs. Or something like shoulders, or just like if I have a quick core workout, things like that, I don't need a ton of beta-alanine. So it's nice being able to control how much beta-alanine I have. This is a bit of a stimulant though for some people. So I find for myself, it doesn't affect my sleep if I have it later in the day, even though it's not late in the day right now. But the nice thing about doing the ingredients separately is if you find that beta-alanine does keep you up, then you can just leave it out. So it's kind of nice having the option. That's what I do personally anyways. And today is leg day, so we're gonna add about half a scoop. Do I want a half, or do I want maybe a little bit more? I'm still cautious with this, and with any supplement, your body will develop a tolerance. So I try not to overdo it with supplements because you don't want your body to develop a tolerance and then you have to take a ton of it for it to have any effect. That's why I'm cautious with caffeine as well. Done my workout, just getting home from the gym, had a nice little jam on the way home. But I think I mentioned this the other day that my garage is in the back of my house. And because my tenants have the yard, I go around the block, if that makes any sense at all. Anyways, I'm driving home right now, so I'm just gonna pop into the garage, but I don't have my list. The list is inside the house, so I'm just gonna go off memory and hope that I can remember everything. And yeah, I don't think any of us have faith in me, but I think we have everything. I just need chisels And clamps are probably a good idea. You're on top of a toolbox right now. I didn't have a tripod. I think these could work for little product shelves in the bathroom. Not 100% sure yet, but I think they could. We're all surprised, but I got everything on the list. Shocked. Now it is time to cut that board. So I want to cut my first piece for the island because it should be fairly easy to get that back plate on. So let's get that done. I think I'm gonna cut, I'm just not sure how I'm gonna edge it yet. Show my actual edges. I might be able to just fill nail holes and then caulk it, or I might be able to get like a corner mold. Once I got everything cut, I just put it back up using the L brackets to hold it in place, and then Brad nailed it from there. Because this was an IKEA shelf and it was like one of the white shiny calyx shelves, I just sanded it down with 100 grit sandpaper quickly. I washed it off first with non-dishwash, then sanded it down with 100 grit sandpaper, and then I'm gonna put a coat, I'm just kind of halfway into this, of Stick It Beauty Tone Stick It Primer Sealer. This I've used on IKEA furniture before and it made the paint stick so nicely. I tried just sanding it and painting it, not this specific unit, but a different unit in the past, and it just all chips off and it's kind of a pain in the butt. This works like a charm though. I'm trying to decide what color I want to paint it. If you're wondering if I just did 5 coats of paint in a row, I did. I absolutely did. By the time I started painting, it was 6 p.m. on a Sunday. So I went through the paint that I had, and I had a blue paint that was feeling no, and then I had this like taupey grayish kind of color, and I thought I'm just gonna pour them both into one can and mix it up and see what happens. The moment of truth, it is the next morning so I can see it in light. I love it. I think the color shows up quite accurately here, but I absolutely love it. I'm so happy with how it turned out. So thanks for coming to my ADHD project. It only took us a day and a half to get done. We did get other things done in there, so I'm not upset about it. I think it looks beautiful and I love how it turned out. I love how it looks with this top, and then I love how it looks with the bar stools. If you have any questions about how I did this or about any of the projects in the house, just pop them down below. Or if you have any questions about other things, I do think I want to make a video that's a little bit more structured on how I stay productive with ADHD, because that is one question I get a lot. But if you have any other questions for me, leave them down below in the comments and I will see you in the next one.